Okay, so you probably clicked on this video because you've had a history of knee pain or currently have knee pain. And I've had a history of knee pain and currently have knee pain. And I'm recovering successfully, which is good. I just want you to know, this is a safe space. I have patella tendinopathy, so patella tendinitis, also known as jumper's knee, because surprise, surprise, I did too much jumping because I used to play basketball. And I believe a lot of injuries are sprouted from other minute injuries in the past or weaknesses in your body. I myself had osteoarthritis disease, which was all developed in my teenage years because I played a lot of sports. And then over time, I developed patella tendinitis, which is jumper's knees, because I was doing too much jumping. I took an advice online. I saw this video of this guy who was crazily athletic. He could jump, he could dunk. I always wanted to dunk. And I remember this one advice he said, and he said, oh, I just jumped every day, which of course it's a harmless advice. You take what you want on the internet. Whatever advice you take on the internet, it is kind of all on you. That's why you should take things with a grain of salt and apply it to yourself in the best means possible. But he said that, and I took it and ran with it, and I literally would jump 100% every single day. And surprise, surprise, I developed this knee pain, and it stayed with me for a long time. I'm not kidding, it stayed with me for 5 years straight, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out how I can get rid of it. And so I just kept doing research on ways and other people's experiences on how they figured out ways to get rid of it or try to maintain and live with it. And so I'll give you my collection of various advices of how I figured out how to get rid of mine. I did say at the start of the video that I do currently have a knee pain, and that's an inflammation at the top of my patella, and that was because I did high rocks earlier this year, I think late May, don't quote me on that, but yeah, and it was badly inflamed from that, and I'm still kind of developing from that. It's progressing well, so I'm in a good journey to getting it completely healed. So here's exactly the exercises that I did in order to get myself to where I am now. So the one that I had for 5 years was inflammation right below the patella on both knees, which kind of sucked on both knees, but I heard it's also due to micro tears in the patella tendon as well, so don't quote me on that. I think both are correct in its own right. So here's what I went about dealing with it and the results I found. The first thing I found was isometrics, so static holding is what your tendons love when it comes to healing and promoting strength. Bear in mind, everyone's on different stages when it comes to their rehabilitation. Some of these exercises wouldn't apply necessarily to you, or you might have to degrade them a little bit more. You can get that right stimulus response for your body to enable healing. So I started off with some isometrics wall sets. To the left of me, I'm gonna link the sets and repetitions. Bear in mind, this is all gonna be individualized, so this is what I found was better for myself. Some people, they may have to limit it even maybe to 10 seconds. A progressed exercise from the wall sits would be an isometric wall push. You can see I'm basically pressing my toe as hard as I can into the wall. Bear in mind the level of effort you want to apply is going to be varied. So on specifically how that pain is as you're producing the force. So then I progressed into some slow movements. So what I found was the tendon, after the isometrics, it loved slow stretch and shortening cycles. Meaning I would have my heel elevated and I would do some goblet squats. I would hold a dumbbell and I would perform very slow eccentrics with a pause, and then slow concentrics as well. The concentrics were the parts that really hurt the most. So you have to vary the weight as well. You may have to start with body weight, and that could last a month. And then from there, maybe add 2 kilograms. And then from there, you can progress up to 4 or 5. When it comes to things like this, stick to the slow progressions. If you feel amazing, still go slow. Progress slowly. Maybe go 2 kilograms every week in your program. And throughout the week, I would carry these exercises out, each individual one. So the wall sits, the wall leg press, and the slow squats, I'd probably do them, I'll say 5 times in a week. Don't overdo it. Sometimes your body is not responding well because you're overdoing it too. But there'll be moments where I feel good, and then all of a sudden I ramp it up to 4 times a week, and then the pain will be bad after the session. So I'd have to degrade it back down up to 3 to 2 sessions a week, and then my body responded perfectly fine. Through all these exercises, one way I can gauge if the exercise was very good stimulus for my body would be through 2 hours post-exercise to 24 hours post-exercise. That's when I can gauge really if this exercise is working or it's not really. Okay, so what I mean specifically by this is write down on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, 1 being amazing, write down how much you feel 24 hours after you did your leg routine. So let's say, for example, I did my wall sits, I did 2 sets of 10-second holds, and then 24 hours afterwards, my legs, my knees feel inflamed, and I'm going to write, oh, I felt like a 7 out of 10. Okay, the next week, maybe I back it down. I might do 5-second holds for 2 sets. And then 24 hours afterwards, it feels like a 5 out of 10. From then, I can kind of gauge what works well with my body and how I can slowly progress from there. Okay, now you're months in from your rehabilitation. What should you do next? Now you should look at your movement mechanics and see what exactly triggered this specific injury to occur. For me, for example, I found I have weak hips, and from that I'll do a bunch of exercises like this, and this, and this, and various other different things to see what works well for me. You might notice you're flat-footed, so you might need to start doing some arch strengthening exercises. I'm flat-footed, so I started doing some arch strengthening exercises. You might notice you have lower back pain. Strengthen your core. And then over time, you start to get a gist of things and you become almost one with your body, and you understand certain nicks and knacks that works for your body and what doesn't. And the downside of all this is you get stronger. Now that sounds like a win to me. Some of these exercises don't look conventionally attractive, but you have to do them because that's what works. Okay, I gotta also make preference. You need to stop doing your sport in the meantime whilst you're doing these rehab. Otherwise, you're just almost taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And I know that's hard, but deal with it now or you're gonna deal with it for the rest of your life. Once you feel fully healed, you want to take it gradually back into your sport. Don't go back in 100%. Maybe start 20% here and there. And then over the weeks and months, you can slowly start to ramp it up. I hope this gives some insight and knowledge into your specific situation that you're dealing with. Sorry if I couldn't help, and you're welcome if I could. My name is Murphy, and I will see you next time.